Hello and welcome to another exclusive Good e-reader video. This is Nick.
And this is Marcus.
Today we have a comparison between the Cruz Reader and the Cruz Tablet. These are two tablet / e-reader, depending on what you want to use it for, devices by Velocity Micro.
Yeah, I mean, Velocity says this is a Cruz Reader, but it's really in essence
As you can
a tablet.
see right off the bat that they both have the Android OS home screen, and none of them are e-ink, so...
Yeah, they're both in essence tablets, despite what the marketing machine might say. The big difference is this is resistive and this is capacitive. So capacitive, you can see that the colors are a little bit more vibrant. And Nick, why don't you lay down the big differences between them?
The biggest reason why you don't get this pasty blurriness on the capacitive is that on a resistive, why it is called resistive is that because there is a thin layer of film that is over the actual LCD screen. So when you touch the device, it kind of dips down and touches the LCD. That's why you can use your nail, your knuckle, your fingertip, a stylus, anything like that. Whereas, see, I can move it left and right with a stylus. Whereas capacitive, you can't use just a regular stylus. You have to get a specific stylus if you do want to use these at all. Capacitive is one piece. It is fully interactive by fingertip, so you would actually have to use your fingertip or a capacitive compatible stylus because it needs to feel that mush of a object when you push down on it. So that is the main difference.
And yeah, and being able to interact with capacitive, it's easier to just be able to launch apps by just tapping on it with your fingers, whereas resistive, you need to like really press down firmly or use a stylus. So before we get into any more of the differences, let's take a look at some of maybe the hardware and supported aspects of it. So Nick, why don't you go with the tablet?
Alright, so it is a 7-inch TFT screen from corner to corner. It is 800 by 600 resolution, and it is a capacitive touch. The aspect ratio is 4:3, so it will not do 16:9 widescreen, so it is rather square of a screen. It runs Android 2.0, has web browser, 256 MB RAM, 4 gig internal storage, 4 gig upgradable storage with an SD card.
And an SD card is actually provided as well with the Cruz tablet.
Exactly. It has Wi-Fi, accelerometer, full 360 accelerometer. It has about 6 hours of battery life. Now it says on the back of the box here that it has 6-hour battery life while watching video. Now it doesn't tell you the standby life, so we're led to believe that that is quite a long life because you could have a video running continuously at 6 hours, and that only leads you to believe that the standby would be far greater than that.
And I mean, if you turn off the Wi-Fi, if you're, say, reading a book, or if you're using it as a digital picture frame, you can probably max it to about 10 hours or so. With all these tablets, battery life is more or less the same, so you can get that type of life in it.
Exactly. As far as we can see, the shell, despite the... Oh, we have 15%, that's fine. Despite the blurriness and pastiness of the film over the resistive, the casing and the housing is pretty much exactly the same. They are the same dimensions, they have the same slots. The only real differences are the film over the resistive and this LED indicator on the resistive compared to the capacitive. So you won't really find any differences in the dimensions. They're both 7 by 5 by ½ an inch. They both use SD cards. The audio playback is MP3, WMA, AAC, and WAV. They play MPEG, H.263, H.264, and the tablet reads PDF, text, and HTML.
The big difference with the Cruz Reader is that it has built-in support for more formats. So unlike the Cruz Tablet, which only did PDF, text, HTML, this one does EPUB, PDF, text, HTML. So the inclusion of EPUB is huge, mainly because most ebook formats found online are in EPUB format. Now, it's the same thing. It's 800 by 600, 7 inches. This is resistive. It's same version of Android 2.0. The RAM is 256, but the built-in storage as well is only 256 MB. And it does have support for up to 4 gigs for an SD card. It does 6 hours as well for watching video, and it also does less audio formats. It only does MP3, WAV, and AAC, whereas this one does WMA. So you can get the protected formats. So now that we've looked at some of the semantics as far as the specs and the features and support, let's just take a look quickly on the hardware. So you can see that it's much the same. So you can see here that dual speakers, DC and headphone jack. So it's pretty well mirror identical. Let's look at the top. So you can see here that, side by side on the top, it's pretty well the same.
The only difference here is that we have inserted the SD card, so don't be fooled by that. This is just an inserted
So
card.
let's look at the side by side.
They honestly did just use the exact same casing, so you won't find any differences on the housing itself.
Right. So, and just flipping to the back, you can see here that they're pretty well the same.
This one says tablet, that one says reader.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at what we mentioned about one of the big features is the Cruz Reader only does like portrait mode right here, and it only goes on the side one way.
If you want to switch it one more,
if you look at it like this,
you'll notice that it does not drop down.
Nothing.
Compared to the tablet, I'm going to do the same thing Marcus did and drop it down to landscape, if it does drop. And I'm going to do one step further and keep going clockwise, drop it back to portrait. And I'm going to go one more to landscape, and then back to 360.
So that's one of the harsh benefits with the tablet is that it does do those multiple perspectives. Whereas because these don't have any back buttons or any type of physical buttons built into it, they're both totally reliant on software-driven buttons for your home, back, magnifying glass, and settings and options depending on what type of app that you're in. So we have to give the advantage of portrait and landscape mode to the Velocity tablet. Now they both have, while we're on the home screen, they both have a little bit of differences here as far as you can see that the time and icons are a bit different. The Cruz Reader tells you the actual date here, whereas the Cruz tablet does not. But more of the options are the same. Long presses bring up the same type of screens. You cannot do live wallpaper on them both because they're only running Android 2.0, and there's no official word on support for any of the further iterations of it. Now with the Cruz Reader, they deal with Borders as far as their content distribution partner, whereas on the Cruz tablet, it has the Kindle app. Now, when we did our standalone review of the Cruz tablet, the Kindle app does have tremendous lag on churning pages. Now, to give you a sort of a clue on that, let's load up the Kindle app on the Cruz Reader and the Kindle app on here, and we'll just load up
a preset book.
Yeah. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the pages, and we can simply do that by doing that, but I think what we're going to do is just press the button here. So you can see that the Cruz Reader does it a little faster.
It's actually very unresponsive on the tablet. It takes sometimes half a second to process to know that it has to turn a page.
Right, so you can see that the e-reading experience is more or less the same.
Slight differences. They're both not the greatest for turning the pages as quickly as some of the bigger name tablets do, but we've noticed that the reading experience, at least on the Kindle app, is slightly faster to the reader rather than the tablet.
And having an Android supported device, it does give you the ability to be able to load in other applications such as being able to install Kobo app, the Sony Android Reader application, Borders, pretty well anybody that makes an Android Reader application, even an FB Reader, LDICO, and things like that. So you can sideload in your books by using LDICO and FB Reader as long as you copy your ebooks to your external SD card. That's the one method that we recommend. Although both of these tablets, as far as browsing the internet, they do not have the ability to be able to watch embedded YouTube videos. So why don't you check out our webpage there. So I'm on our main homepage here, but you can see that when we're trying to watch an embedded YouTube video, we get an error page. And let's go to our, I'll go to the blog really quickly on this device, just so we're on the same page. Actually, load up your keyboard on here by tapping there. Let's take a look at responsiveness of the keyboard, because these are two big, huge factors. So I'm going to type it in here. Just type in, see here that already we had some unresponsiveness.
And I wasn't even touching it for a little bit. It was trying to catch up with me. So we have gone through unboxing videos of each and review videos of each, and we have found that the capacitive touchscreen tablet is a lot quicker than the resistive touch reader.
Yeah, the keyboard is a lot more unresponsive. Hope it doesn't come across in the video that basically this is slower from practical point of view, and the capacitive is faster. You can hit keys faster, and with this one you see a little bit more lag. Also, in both of these tablets, we're riding a really fast Wi-Fi connection. You can see that, you know, the pictures haven't loaded or anything like that yet. And
also for scanning the networks, we've noticed that when we were scanning just to start up before the video started to log in our information, this took significantly longer than it did to scan for our router here at Goody Reader than it did for this one. This one just popped right up on the list. This one took a very long time to find it, and it took a long time to connect to it.
Right, so let's take a look at being able to pinch and zoom.
I'll let him try first.
Oh, I can't seem to pinch and zoom on here.
Whereas on the tablet, you are fully able to pinch and zoom. Now, it's not as responsive as most of the big name or tablets are, but you can see I'm pinching and it's going out. So
like the pinching and zooming on the Samsung Galaxy Tab or the Apple iPad is out of this world. Yeah. That's really, you know, here at Goody Reader you can see that we do have these hands-on reviews, and we do hands-on reviews with all the e-readers and tablets that we do, and we're one of the only blogs that do these constant side-by-side comparisons of the same brand as well as competing brands against each other. And this is just pretty well to provide you with you know, the viewer or people potentially maybe going to buy these devices, having all the tools that you have, as well as letting you know that, you know, the pinching and zooming is on this but not on this. And through previous tablets that we've played at, you know, we recommend, you know, whereas we said the Apple iPad, the Samsung Galaxy Tab, the most responsive out of all these tablets as far as being able to pinch and zoom and overall features. Now, this retails, you know, for around like $150 to about $170, depends where you buy it from. This retails anywhere between like $220 and about $259 or so. So this is considered like a lower end, whereas this is sort of considered a mid-range one. But you can see here that we pretty well have the same image here side by side, and look how vibrant this looks compared to this one. This one looks all dull, and we haven't messed around with all the brightness settings. This is all just stock stuff, so none of these are in any way or form different from each other. But you can see that side by side with the same images here, how washed out this really looks. versus how nice and vibrant this looks. So from an overall web browsing experience, we'd have to give it to the Cruz tablet as far as the keyboard being responsive, typing in web addresses and your Wi-Fi password and everything like that, to it just looking overall a little bit slicker. For reading ebooks, at least with the default Kindle application, we would have to give it to the Cruz Reader, and in effect it's designed to be an Android reader. And they both have the same functionality as far as doing widgets, to be able to put shortcuts and things like that. They're pretty well the same with that. And the one advantage is that we showed you is this does 360 degrees in switching to landscape and portrait, whereas this only does portrait and does landscape on only 90 degrees. Now, all the default applications are pretty well the same. You can see that it comes with Facebook Mobile, YouTube Mobile. Let's take a look at maybe how videos look on them side by side. So why don't you load up the...
I'm having trouble locating the YouTube on here.
It should be... There should be a YouTube Mobile.
I don't think it's here.
Oh, really? It could be... Let's